tell you guys to make sure that you get caught up in all the things that we're doing. We'll be at Hotel Indigo on Saturday beginning at 12:30 for the pregame show. Doors open up at noon, so you can get on over there and get you some food, maybe an ice cold beverage or two. Get on up to that top floor where Tom and myself will be presenting the pregame show, doing the pregame show, I should say, performing the pregame show, and it should be a fun one. I look forward to it. And then postgame show is 10 to 15 minutes after the game. So you got a lot of things here coming up. And tomorrow, since it's a home game, we'll be at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. And that's just a little sip some beer, shake some hands, and talk some football. Can't think of anything better than that.
Well, especially in a weekend where the weather is starting to look a little bit more fallish, a little bit more football wins.
Yeah, a little bit.
We're not covering a team that's 1-3 right now.
We are not.
We've had a few of those happy hour shows where Florida State was closer to 1-3 than 4-0.
And those are the shows where I'd tell you to Uber to and just go ahead and get you some beers. Right. Tough times. I want to open the show with surprising news, and that is that Tez Walker has been ruled eligible. The NCAA has deemed North Carolina receiver Tez Walker eligible after receiving new information from the school. And I'll read it as follows to see if this affects Darrell Jackson in the way that we're all certainly hoping that it does. The NCAA staff reviewed new information regarding University of North Carolina student-athlete Tez Walker this week. Staff determined the new information qualifies Walker for a transfer waiver. The information had not been made available by UNC previously, despite the school's multiple chances to do so. So they take a shot, by the way, at North Carolina, saying that North Carolina had not done what it needed to do. Quote, "It is unfortunate that North Carolina failed to provide this important information previously. While we must be careful not to compromise a student-athlete's right to privacy when it comes to sensitive issues, we want to assure the Division I membership and everyone watching how the new transfer rules are applied, that this meets the new transfer waiver standards. UNC's behavior and decision to wage a public relations campaign is inappropriate and outside the bounds of the process UNC's own staff supported. Had the North Carolina staff not behaved in this fashion and submitted this information weeks ago, this entire unfortunate episode could have been avoided." This, according to NCAA President Charlie Baker and Division I Board of Directors Chair Jeer Moorhead, president of the University of Georgia. Well, now, listen. If you're North Carolina, you got what you needed, got what you wanted here in the form of Tez Walker's eligibility. I will say it would take every ounce of strength that you could muster not to retort. Please allow me to retort, one would think, because this is as uppity and high and mighty and ridiculous from the NCAA as you could possibly get. Now, here's where the NCAA never gets the benefit of the doubt. Their abhorrent decision-making process and behavior rarely allows for one to side in their favor. And for them to take the low road rather than the high road here, this could have been an admonishment done behind the scenes. This could have been, all right, listen, he's eligible now. But, oh, by the way, dumbasses, it's your fault he wasn't eligible to start the year, just so we're clear. And that is a letter that could have been written as opposed to a public statement tisking North Carolina. And I have no sympathy for North Carolina most days either, given their history within the NCAA and the things that happened with a certain class and how it was that they were not reprimanded in the same fashion that many other schools, including Florida State, have been over the years. I don't know that this falls under the umbrella of good news for Florida State and Darrell Jackson most notably. But I do know that Florida State has not made a public spectacle of this, and if that's what really upset the NCAA, they do not have that as ammunition to hold against Florida State and in particular Darrell Jackson. I don't know what it was that North Carolina allegedly did not offer up to the NCAA that would have allowed for immediate eligibility. Don't know what it is. Did they find something health-related? Because they certainly reference sensitive issues. Typically, they're talking about health issues when it is sensitive issues or family issues, things that affect a family or an individual from a health standpoint, a legal standpoint, whatever it might be. Darrell Jackson's plea to the NCAA is rooted in a family concern for his mother, which is a very public thing that we understand to be the case. And that wasn't enough for the NCAA prior to the season and even in season to say yes. So I'm curious what happened today with the NCAA, what happened with North Carolina, and whether or not it will have a direct impact the way we once thought it would. That if, in fact, Tez Walker was deemed eligible, Darrell Jackson would be deemed eligible, and that they both got in their transfer ahead of the transfer rules changing. The significant changes that were made into this rule by the NCAA happened after they had already submitted and transferred. So it never seemed fair, regardless. Now I don't know if it will have an impact. We do know already, just to remind folks, that Darrell Jackson is eligible to play if Florida State is to make it to the college football playoff. He can play, he can start, and he's continuing to practice. He's had an impact on practice, so he's in shape and ready to go. It would be, suffice to say, Tom Lang, huge news if Darrell Jackson were to be declared eligible, if this was one of many stepping stones and this the final. Okay, we've cleared Tez Walker. We now have to clear Darrell Jackson. The next statement will be from the NCAA or from Florida State saying that that is the case. We hope. I don't know if it's going to be, but if it is, it significantly changes Florida State's level of dominance on defense up front, because that guy, in my opinion, instantly becomes your best defensive lineman.
This is just a preposterous last half an hour. I mean, so you're going to tell me that it's the dude that's working at the NCAA and they're saying, hey, new stuff has come to light, man.
Right.
New stuff has come to life because North Carolina compliance didn't fire off an email it was supposed to or attach a PDF file with evidence.
I refuse to believe that. I can't believe that. I'm sure that didn't happen.
You think Mac Brown's walking down the hallway at the compliance office?
Hey, did we ever send that text?
Hey, Ted, you sent that, right? Mac, I am so sorry. Well, Ted, you're fired after you send this email. But go ahead and send that right now.
No, I can't believe that's possibly
way.
true. But the thing is, this would be the kind of petty maneuvering that you would see from the NCAA, where they already know they look bad. They've taken a beating from a public relations standpoint nationally. I mean, this is a thing that made national news. You had politicians, you had game announcers, you had head coaches, you had former players, high-profile former players, speaking out against the NCAA in unison. So you had a bevy of concerns, and they were all lobbed in unison at the NCAA for their mismanagement of these situations. And what? They said, screw you. We're going to make him sit for 4 to 5 weeks just because we can. And oh, by the way, when we finally do deem him eligible because we're tired of this nonsense, we're going to reprimand you publicly and have the board of directors chair and the NCAA president, Charlie Baker, decide that, hey, everybody, he's eligible, and it was never our fault. And here's the deal, North Carolina. You have to accept that these are the provisions for ours in whether or not we'll decide in his favor. You must wear it. You don't get to retort. Sort of like a defendant in a case who accepts a plea, even though he's not guilty, doesn't want to plead guilty, but doesn't want to do time and doesn't want to leave it up to a court or doesn't want to leave it up to a jury. So he says, okay, I'll take the 6 months because I'm facing 20. You know and I know I didn't do this and that these cops screwed this up, but okay. And then you got to wear the, this is how you plea? Yeah, that's how I plea. I think we both know what happened here, but you can't even say that kind of thing. We've seen all these things. Well, I don't know if that's what happened here, but come on, man.
I think it's more likely a work. I think that they've reached an arrangement behind closed doors because if you look at the language of this, the NCAA is shielded from having to make a Darrell Jackson eligible. New stuff has come to light, man. Well, we're not going to disclose what that new stuff is, but trust me, it's good stuff. You know what? And if North Carolina did a better job, he'd be eligible this whole time. Good thing they're undefeated already. But Florida State, I don't know. Is there any new stuff you could provide for me? If I'm the NCAA, they are protected and shielded from having to take a step here to make Darrell Jackson eligible. So I still think it's doubtful that this comes. If their language was such that in further review of our policies and the timeline of our change in emphasis for the transfer portal, and in light of that his application arrived to us before said changes, we're retroactively saying that Tez Walker is now eligible to play moving forward. If they said that,
then you would know Darrell's in good shape.
Darrell's in good shape.
Yeah.
But they're saying, hey, man, you know what? We didn't know this missing piece, this skeleton key of information that unlocks the door to his
Yeah, but
eligibility.
here's what bothers me about this. How is it that this is twofold. A, the NCAA is doing this so that they don't have to circle back and address the other situations,
and
including
Daryl
Jackson.
Ours, but yes.
Yeah. So it's others, including Daryl Jackson, right? They don't want to have to go back and decide that those guys are eligible. So they decide in this case they'll throw it at North Carolina's feet. They'll lay the blame there, and then they're off scot-free. So they say, yeah, he can play because they know that public relations and et cetera was in his favor. So they go ahead and do this. All right. That, or they thought a lawsuit was coming, which might be more likely. That said, how is it North Carolina always gets every benefit of the doubt? They had an illegal class for 20 plus years and they were told, don't worry about it because other students could take it. You don't get in any trouble whatsoever. But Florida State self-reports one rogue tutor. Get the hell out of here. I mean, that there's no way that can stand. And you get a sense that it's about to.
Yeah, I think on the surface, it looks like UNC is finally getting its comeuppance publicly by the NCAA in terms of the strong language of the statement and calling them incompetent. I think it's a work. I think they're in cahoots. I think they're working together. They reached an arrangement.
It's North Carolina.
Correct.
It is not Harvard. It is not Notre Dame. It is not Stanford. What are we talking about?
An institution that for decades has had the inside track to whatever they want to do. And this is just another example of that. Unless, hey, prove me wrong, NCAA. Daryl Jackson, let's go. Let's make this happen. You know what? We didn't actually see the extent, and Florida State Compliance Department fired over a document showing that perhaps a family member of his was. We cannot get into details. These are HIPAA violations, but just understand, everybody, that Florida State fired off a new document to us, and if they had done so earlier, then Daryl Jackson would have been eligible all along. It's not going that way, though. If I'm Florida State, though, you got to pick up the phone. You have to.
Well, I'm sure it's already been done. I mean, this can't possibly be a situation in which nobody else reacts. I mean, you have other student athletes that are under the same umbrella that I referenced earlier. I mean, it's not just Daryl Jackson. There are other players. So not many, but there are others.
It's just you have to reject this the way they're presenting it on its face. To assume that this is true would be to assume that a university compliance department with all of the incentive in the world to turn over every rock, to bring every piece of information that they possibly could to the NCAA so their football team has a chance to win a lot of games and win a conference. To assume that they're incompetent or that they didn't send everything they possibly had, and had they done so weeks earlier, this would have been a dead issue, a moot point, is absurd. There's no way they didn't air it out.
But what we know, and I get back to this, you know as well as I do, they knew they were in the wrong. They wanted to save face, so they blamed North Carolina. All the while, knowing they were going to have to declare this young man eligible, they suffered huge backlash. They waited for that to die down, and then rather than just do the right thing, they had to take a stand and tisk North Carolina in order to try to save face, which is insane. North Carolina, along with every other university, is a member of the NCAA. They choose to be. This is a member institution.
And North Carolina says, sure. What? You want to release a paragraph?
Oh, you want to release a paragraph saying that we're a-holes. Okay. Well, our boy's going to suit up on Saturday, so thanks a lot for that.
And we can get him ready for Miami in a week and a half.
Yeah. Well, let's hope the pettiness stretches to Tallahassee. Somehow I doubt it.
Okay. Well, if you were Florida State decision makers behind the scenes.
Well, you're not going to suit him up.
No.
Okay. I hear that all the time. People are like, just suit him up. It's not going to work.
No. Would you have Mike Norvell release a statement? Would you have him make a statement or ask to be asked a question by somebody that he could have a public forum? Maybe he goes on ACC PM this afternoon and, hey, why don't you ask me a question?
The 17 people watching ACC PM will hear it.
No, but it'll get pulled out by all of our media wings, which are far stronger than ACC PM.
Correct.
And then people will actually see it instead of not see it at all on ACC PM. But would you?
I think you would want to get a sense of what's going on behind the scenes before you retort. I mean, let's find out if this is one step towards the final step, which is Florida State getting information that he'll be ruled eligible after Saturday's game against Virginia Tech, that he will have suffered the penalty that the NCAA wanted him to suffer, which is to miss 5 games.
maybe we should call compliance ourselves and say, hey, if you're looking for new information, we got some. I hear you're in the business of taking new information these days.
I love the idea, though, of raging incompetence, like this idea that somebody at North Carolina just forgot to send the information along. Like, I mean, I don't want to get into a weird scenario because this is a real person and that is a real family and that's a real situation. So, but if we were making a movie, you could make this really funny. You forget to send over a report that details something like crazy tragic. Oh, I forgot to send that over. Really? Wait, what? I'm not going to give the scenario because but
just think how ridiculous that is. Do you know how meticulous you have to be in compliance in the first place?
Right. Nobody forgot to send anything over. That's a lie. It's nonsense. There was not some grand oversight. You did hit send, didn't you, Stephen? I think I look to sent messages, Stephen. Can we see?
That would be the equivalent of a head coach stopping his recruiting process for a program.
Yeah. Well, Florida State, Virginia Tech. It was a big game, and we had to make our picks this week. I think you and I both have them covering. I came around. You had to kind of win me over a little bit.
A little cajoling?
The more I watch Virginia Tech, the more I'm like, yeah, we should. But I've got my wagers. It is Redemption Thursday. Let's get to it. We'll do it here in a moment. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Excellence defines us, so we'll never let orthopedic pain and injury define you. TOC is a physician-led team of fellowship-trained specialists providing the highest level of orthopedic care in the region. With 12 centers of excellence and TOC Now urgent care clinics, our patients access affordable expert care fast. TOC, only experts. Schedule an appointment at teamtoc.com.
Barry knows cool, he's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool, you can put him to the test.
This is Tyler from Bear No Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere.
Save big time in the new year and get $1,200 off select new units.
Online at BaranoAC.com.
Keeping you comfortable is what Barry does best.
Florida license CAC 1816-186.
I'm Stephanie, and I work for Paul's Termite and Pest Control. I've been working here for over 11 years, and to say making the switch to Paul's has been life-changing is an understatement. First, we provide a service that truly helps people protect the health of their families and pets from disease-carrying bugs and rodents, plus their homes from destructive termites. So when I go to work every day, what I do really makes a difference. Second, I have grown professionally in the company. I was hired by Paul's in customer service, and now I'm the customer service leader. While my responsibilities have grown, so have my pay and benefits. It's such a blessing to work with friends doing something that helps people, plus being well paid. If you're in a job that provides minimal pay and satisfaction, we have openings right now. Paul's employees receive many benefits like CHP, 401k, paid vacations, and holidays. We work Monday through Friday and provide extensive training so no experience is required. Call today to learn how we can improve your life.
Hello, Leon County. Let's get ready to win with Ken. I'm Ken Preston. I want to be your next Leon County property appraiser. I'm driven, committed, experienced, and a dedicated community servant. I'm ready to put my experience as a former property appraiser to work to help make a difference for the people of Leon County. Let's go to work. Vote for me. Ken Preston for Leon County Property Appraiser 2024. Win with Ken. A political advertisement by Ken Preston for Leon County Property Appraiser.
This is Jamie McClenny of Trek Financial, co-host of Cover Your Assets here on Real Talk 93.3. Since three of the largest bank failures in U.S. history last March, the S&P 500 is up over 10% as D.C. politicians added an additional $1.5 trillion in spending after raising the debt ceiling. This rally has been extremely narrow as a handful of mega cap stocks are responsible for over 70% of the gain on the S&P 500 year to date. The yield on the 10-year Treasury has been below the 3-month rate for over 200 trading days, the longest streak in 6 decades. As one economist quipped, ignore these signals at your own risk. Managing downside risk is one of the biggest challenges that you will face in retirement, but a clearly defined risk management protocol can help to mitigate large drawdowns in your retirement nest egg. If you're concerned about where all of this might be headed, Give me a call at 850-900-5200 and schedule an office visit to discover the risk in your current portfolio.
Investment advisory services offered through Trek Financial LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
Let's get that thing up there, baby. Let's do this. Always fun. Many have asked that I kind of keep it more straightforward when I can. I that's not the way I operate typically. We got a little extra.
Who's asking?
Some people are like, they don't understand all the halves and all that other stuff. Player props are going to still be a thing. And you see, I wrote sprinkle a little pizza money. He didn't write it all out there. I have on there.
This show's free. You know what else is free? Google.
Yeah.
You know what? Do some research.
Yeah. I wrote in my picks part of the NFL, sprinkle a little pizza money on Brian Robinson tonight for the first touchdown at plus 550. A little pizza money. Let's go. I like that pick. Hey, now that's not picking a winner necessarily. It's like I'm not against anything. I feel pretty good about that pick. I'm going to throw a little pizza money at it and hope that Brian Robinson scores the first touchdown tonight at plus 550. We're getting some good odds against a team that can't stop the run. So let's go that route. Now, I thought to myself today when I went through my picks, and I got to tell you, in real life, my card has 25 to 30 games. So this weekend's huge. This is a bet every game weekend. It's unbelievable. There is a reason to bet every game this weekend. So my real card this week will have probably 20 games, at least 20 games.
So what's the total out there?
Let me see what I've sent.
What's the total amount of potato chips you have out there across all the games?
Not a ton. We just keep it low key.
12-5.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So far, I've made 15 bets for this weekend. Now, I've got at least 7 to 10 I'm looking at right now that I haven't pulled the trigger on yet that I planned on figuring out tonight if I was going to do it.
So this is the first semester of college we got going this weekend.
This is going to be a good weekend. This is going to be fun. We're betting in bulk, boys. It's not for the faint of heart. Western Kentucky. Hey, hold on. I said today.
Killed the siren midstream.
When I picked these 10, I purposely did, and these are games for the most part that will be on my card. Almost all of them.
Use the phone service to get the others.
But I said my phone service would be hilarious. People would join just to have my phone service. But let me tell you something. As I wrote these out this morning, I thought, Tom's just going to hit the siren the whole time. I just realized he's going to just keep the siren mashed. He's just going to be like ding, ding, ding in the bell. Speaking of which, there it is.
Usually it's right in front of you.
There
it is.
That would be you from the jump today. All right, so now you go ahead and hit your sirens. Western Kentucky -6 against Louisiana Tech. By the way, that's action tonight. We're not screwing around, no pussyfooting out here. We got action tonight. When you sit down to watch some NFL and some college football, you know you got Jeff's picks right there before you.
I can feel it all the way down in my plums.
Like it. Western Kentucky -6 against Louisiana Tech. Central Michigan -3 against Buffalo. Surprised the line was that low. The fun and games have begun. And you know how much I love UTSA. dropping 14 against lowly Temple.
Also known as Utsa.
I like Utsa. Minus 14 against Temple. Cruising to victory, UTSA. Washington State.
I can feel it all the way down to my plums.
Plus 3.5 against UCLA. Kind of a sucker bet here, but I almost wanted to go money line here. I think that I hate UCLA's offense. I hate it.
Yeah, if you're going to play this, just play it.
No, the odds are better to take the 3.5. And it's probably going to be a close game. So I just went ahead on, and that's what it is. We've got Texas A&M on the money line. That made more sense to beat Alabama.
It's good to know.
There it is. Nice imitation. North Carolina, later the Woods, Syracuse, minus 8.5.
Especially now they got the receiver.
Well, and Syracuse doesn't have receivers. Georgia giving 14.5 against Kentucky. The public will be all over Kentucky. I don't know how Kentucky's going to score. Georgia 17, Kentucky nothing. Texas minus 6 against Oklahoma. You guys know I watch Oklahoma closely, and it's a very good year 2 for Venables. He's got this thing going in the right direction. We figured he was too good a coach to be doing what he did last year in year 1, but they had culture issues in year 1, and he's trying to get it flipped. They're playing a lot better, but they're not there where they need to be yet, and I really think that Texas team is very good. So I'm going to go ahead and lay the 6 there. Pains me. I hope I get this one wrong. It'd be funny to come in here and talk about Tejas blowing a season because they couldn't beat Oklahoma, which has happened a million times in their illustrious past. Eastern Michigan minus 2.5 against Ball State. Eastern's a quality club, Tom. You haven't been tuning into Eastern Michigan, you're missing out. They got some pieces.
Okay.
They got some pieces. Ball State does not.
Ball State is without pieces.
Without pieces. I like UAB on the money line to beat USF. UAB hosting that game. Did the money line thing for the reasons that you talked about, which is the odds boost there. I like that better. I'll just take them to win the game outright. And then, as I said, sprinkle some pizza money on Brian Robinson for the first touchdown tonight at plus 550. It's a lot of fun. I got more player props for the weekend, and I had one person reach out and ask for them on Twitter last week. And I said on Thursday, you were out of town, I said, okay, guys, I know these are a lot of standard bets, not a lot of halftime totals and things like that I like to bet.
First quarter overs.
I do. You can make a killing with that. I had thank goodness, for example, I took USC minus 11.5 for the first half against Colorado. I was worried about a backdoor cover.
Yeah.
And so I did that in my personal life. On the card, I didn't.
I would imagine Florida State's first half team totals, I'm pretty sure, first quarter team total unders have had to have hit every single week.
I'm going to take a good long look at a lot of first half totals and first quarter totals for the card, Tom. We're going to have a big, robust card this weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. I probably have 2 or 3 player props that I'm looking at in the NFL right now. I needed to do more research, and it's a Thursday. The bets come out on Thursday, but games aren't played till Sunday for a lot of those player props. So I got time. But what I said at the end of last week when we were doing the show,
for just $29.99,
I said, if you guys want any more player props, because I didn't present them last week, go ahead and tweet at me. And if you do, I'll get back to you. And one person did, and they did so with the famed Dave Chappelle. Got any more than player props? Which I really appreciated. And I responded and gave that person a player prop, which did hit, of course, because they all do when I pick them. So that is 7 of 8 on player props this year. It's really quite ridiculous. I should have put 10 grand on every player prop, and we'd be having ourselves a year. But I have not done that. Nothing close to 10 grand.
But you will.
Well, the second I do, I'm dead. I know how it works. But anyhow, we've been
Christian McCaffrey's leg has fallen off.
Sprinkle pizza money on Christian McCaffrey to win the MVP.
Yeah.
He's got a chance at, combined yards at over 2,000 yards. And, he scores every freaking week. And, he could win the MVP. Man. If you're a quarterback coming out of college, just pray you get drafted by Shanahan because other than Trey Lance, I suppose. You know how bad Trey Lance has to be?
No, pray he doesn't draft you because the guys he drafts, no good.
No, but they win games and the only reason that Heward looks any it's what is it? Chubba Purdy? Purdy.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
The only reason
Chubba
might win in that offense. The only reason Brock Purdy looks good is because that is a loaded defense, a loaded offense, an awesome offensive line. They can run the ball, one of the elite tight ends in the game, 2 stud wide receivers, and they don't ask him to go win the game. They just tell him, don't go lose the game. It's amazing. He makes bums look good all the time. So that tells me Trey Lance must have been ass beyond belief. That guy couldn't get anything out of that guy?
The desk over there?
No, my foot's tapping.
Oh, okay.
Fired up thinking about how bad Trey Lance must have been. Good God. You can't, I mean, this guy makes bums look like elite quarterbacks. Go grab Brock Purdy and put him in somebody else's offense. Let's see how he does. He ain't gonna do a damn thing.
Put him in Canales' offense.
Well, let's hope we have the boy wonder at OC there in Tampa. He's doing a good job. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
The Tallahassee Police Department announced Wednesday that a third arrest was made in connection to the shooting of an officer on Sandpiper Street last week. Tyrell Guinea, 26 years old, has been charged. The first suspect to be arrested was John Darius Wright, who was accused of shooting the officer. A second suspect, Raheem Sanders, was located and arrested Monday in Alachua County by TPD with assistance from the United States Marshal Service. After the September 25th shooting, police announced a manhunt for 3 men they believed to be involved in the shooting. The department announced Wednesday they believe Guinea is the third and final suspect they believe to have been involved. Police say Guinea was the getaway driver for Wright in a home invasion earlier that night on Cypress Point Road, south of the airport. Wright is accused of shooting a man inside a home there and firing shots at the man's father. The officer was shot in the thigh, damaging his femoral artery, which caused massive blood loss. The officer survived and is continuing to recover. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Partly cloudy skies this afternoon with highs around 87. Winds out of the northeast, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Partly cloudy again tonight, lows level off around 68. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 87. Turning cooler Saturday and Sunday with highs from the mid-70s to the upper 70s. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 84.
Want a Zaxby's Big Zax snack meal for free? With free fingers, free fries, free Zax sauce, even free Texas toast? All you have to do is download the Zaxby's app. Did you download it yet? Woo, saucy! Zaxby's.
Your next chance to splash into some cash with Swain Pools and Spas to win $1,000 is coming up at 2 p.m. Listen out for the keyword, and all you got to do is text the keyword for a chance to win $1,000.
So everybody knows, Eddie, that you are a spectacular cook. Of course they know that. If they go into Bumpa's, the food is always good. I mean, everything on the menu.
Mm-hmm.
Everything at Gordo's is delicious. I always, of course, get the bungalow chungla, as I call it.
The bungalow chung, Jeff.
Is that what is the pork?
The bungalow chung, Jeff.
Okay, the bungalow chungla. It's delicious. All these things, all the items, everything you do, a master cook. But, sir, I would ask you, what is a skill that you possess that you're particularly proud of that nobody would know and that you could share with us here?
Growing hair, Jeff. Growing hair.
You're an asshole. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
situation, obviously, where we were watching very closely before the season began about Tez and whether or not he could play at North Carolina. And he was declined originally, the ability to play. Today, we find out he can. We'll see whether or not this impacts Darrell Jackson. Now, the NCAA's statement involving this was really what we wanted to discuss a little bit. And the admonishment from Charlie Baker, the NCAA president, and Jer Moorhead, the board of directors chair and president of the University of Georgia, was comical and not a good look. But here we go. We'll see if, in fact, Florida State gets the good news. And, again, applying that, assuming, let's say we hope it does happen, obviously, that let's just for a second pretend that it's going to happen and happen soon, it would have a huge impact. I mean, I think Florida State becomes even more dominant than they've been up front. Now, there have been aspects of this defense that we've been addressing and talking about and concerned with, but the front four really hasn't been the problem. The front four has done a really good job in shutting down the run and putting teams in a position where you think you could produce more turnovers and have an opportunity to get after the quarterback. And we're hoping to see a more aggressive version of this defense, and I think we will. But the front four is what enables you to do that. Now, if you were to throw Darrell Jackson into that mix, holy moly. I thought he was the best defensive tackle coming into the season that Florida State had. I thought he was a game-changing player. And if you get a game-changing player like that back after watching the emergence of Joshua Farmer, who has been a dominant force, save for one game, the Boston College game, where I think it is fair for us to speculate that he was very sick. All the other points of evidence suggest he is who he is. He's a really good player. He just wasn't that day. Then I think, really you have a chance to be very, very good on defense.
Just a quick footnote on the Farmer situation at Boston College. I did something for the site today looking at deficiencies that we've had on defense and what Virginia Tech does. That's a good fit for testing us, pushing us a little bit. And Farmer on that first breakdown, that first defensive breakdown, second down on the series, and we don't cover a guy.
Yeah.
Farmer's the one that pursues him for about 50 yards. That might have been all he had left in the tank.
I think so.
Later in the drive,
we made that poor man do that. He does get blown off the ball.
But I think part of it is if you have the flu and then you're trying to pursue, do the right thing, you're the closest guy on the screen, not a defensive back, to a receiver that's wide open, and you're chasing him for 50-odd yards. That might have been the death blow.
Yeah, there's a lot of evidence. I went back and watched that game too. I was mad and watched it several times. In fact, I wanted to see all that went wrong with that defense against that kid. And there were so many moments where I'm like, oh, he's not right. Something's not right with him. There seems to be overwhelming evidence that he was, like a lot of guys on the team that day, very sick. So that would appear to be the outlier for sure. And all the other games, he's been really good, tough to move, very active, sure tackler. He's in the right gap. He's played really well.
And Virginia Tech against even Pitt didn't really attack straight up. Didn't really run straight ahead.
Yeah, they just make you be disciplined, not fall for nonsense.
Little perimeter pitches, and they'll run counter and gap and do all and weird stuff like a triple option that they've got, but it's a motion into a triple option. But it wasn't about just running straight ahead. And if they can't do that against Pitt, then I would think everything's going to be gadgety, perimeter based, and all that kind of stuff again this weekend.
I mentioned before that it's a sneaky good weekend of college football. I mean, okay, first of all, the obvious, Texas, Oklahoma, but in a weird way, maybe Maryland, Ohio State is interesting. Maybe LSU, Missouri, just because I think Missouri could actually win that game. Wouldn't be good for us, but that could be a fun game to watch. It's a nooner. Washington State, UCLA, I've already talked about how that game could be good. We're all interested to see how Kentucky, Georgia plays out. Might be a really defensive-minded game. An overlooked game that could be very, very good is Notre Dame, Louisville at 7:30 at night. Louisville's undefeated. You kind of need Louisville to lose a game. You kind of feel like they're a paper tiger. They've beaten nobody, really. Even struggled at times to do that. Think about the last-second win against Indiana, who's not any good. They had a goal line stand against somebody who's terrible as well.
Yeah, Georgia Tech, they had to rally big time.
Right, who's awful, awful. Yeah, so there's all kinds of evidence there. Arkansas, Ole Miss. Figures to be 1,000 points scored in that game. We'll see if Miami is going to continue to torch the Yellow Jackets and do the things that they should do to get to 5-0. And then you got Alabama and Texas A&M as well on that slate. And I kind of lean towards Texas A&M just to win the game outright. So you got a lot of games, a lot of interesting games.
A lot of balls in the air.
A lot of balls in the air this weekend that should be fun to watch, Tom. Fun to watch. Enjoy the games.
I would imagine this means that you are going to be, well, what is your cell phone provider?
AT&T.
Oh, then you've got a fighting chance in the stadium when you're watching the game to get something on your phone.
Yeah,
if it's the other, you've got no chance.
Well, and this is one of the games that I've decided to go to just as dad, husband, family man. It's me, my wife, and my 2 kids. I'm not doing this, press box thing. I'm not, none of that. I'm going to be sitting in the stands cheering them on.
You wearing a disguise? Little mullet hat?
Let me tell you something, though. I meant to do this before, and we only have a couple minutes left in the segment, so I wanted to make sure I get this out there. So you guys listening to the show, especially those of you that are regulars, let's harken back to Monday's show, in which I'm having a conversation from the house. We did the show from the house. You were at yours. I was at mine. And as we were doing the show, I get a notice on my phone that there are some strange, dubious indeed charges on my credit card, on my card there. And I'm thinking, my bank rightfully said, hey, we don't know about all this.
Spartan something.
Spartan something is right. I can't remember exactly what it was, but Spartan whatever. And somebody in the chat was like, looks like it's a sporting goods store, Jeff. Somebody made a funny joke about the whole Spartan thing, and that was funny. And so I was not all that worried, but I was kind of concerned. Like, I don't remember making this $28.07 charge to Spartan, whatever the hell this is. So we get to a commercial break, and I'm looking into it, but I don't have enough time. They want me to call the 800 number and all this other stuff. And I'm like, I have to do it after the show. So right after the show, I get in touch with my bank, and I'm like, hey, I don't know what this charge is. Is this like, did I buy a shirt? I might have bought a shirt last week. Sometimes I buy a nice golf shirt that I see or something like that. Is that the company shipping it out? What is it? You want them to tell you, like, no, it's not that. So then we go through, they end up keeping me on the line. These sons of bitches have been stealing from me for over a year. I was the victim of fraud, Tom Lang. So this company, if you guys ever get a charge from, I'll tell you what it is. I can't remember now. Spartan something, sporting goods. All right, here's the deal. That 800 number, when you call that number to find out what company that is, because they'll provide you on your bill an 844 number or something like that with, when you call it,
yes, comrade.
They know they think they're slick. They don't even tell, they say, welcome to the whatever, and they don't say the name of the company. So you're already like, whoa, this is kind of fishy. I've reached what? Thank you for calling, and they don't say the name of the company. Please hold. They want you to hold. They're like, no, what's going on here? Well, then we went back and saw the location in California that the bill goes to fronts like 9 companies that don't exist. So what they were doing is they just change out the name of the company, and they always do, a marginal purchase. So it's always like $12, $28, $7, $13. They don't want to alarm you. And you just kind of look at it like, guess I spent $9 on something last week. I don't know. Maybe I did.
Meanwhile, Phil Mickelson, with all of his gambling debts, appears to be just fine.
I don't know about all that. Phil has had come out, and
this is a good scam out of Phil. I'm impressed.
Man alive. I was livid. So anyhow, got popped. They got me.
Phil's going to be sporting Spartan clothing.
Good news is this. I get all my money back, filed a claim. Boom. We're going to be good to go.
How much money was it all told?
Not a lot. I think it's like $2,000 or $1,700, something like that.
Not a lot. Goodness.
No, I'm saying over the course of a year, that's not. Yeah. You guys can yell at California all you want. It's not California. It's whoever is committing the fraud, and they're not located in California. They just said they are.
Yeah.
They're not located in California.
Also, folks, just get a window in here. It's not a lot of money. 2 G's. It's 25 bets in the air this weekend. All right.
Oh, guys, there are those wagers right there. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Someone who thought texting was a better idea than stopping for a traffic light slams into your rear bumper. Now your back is injured and you've got to be at work and rehab, all without a car. I'm Jimmy Fasig at Fasig Brooks. We hear stories like this every day. You shouldn't pay for someone else's mistake. Call us at 850-777-7777 and we'll make sure you come back stronger.
The future of joint pain relief is here. It's QC Kinetics, Advanced Regenerative Medicine. This is amazing stuff. Hey, everybody, it's Greg Tish. If you've been told more steroids or surgery are your only options, don't be so fast to jump on that train. Get a second opinion and learn more about how you can harness your body's own healing agents to attack that joint pain you're having every morning. QC Kinetics doesn't mask the pain. These treatments go to the very root of the problem, using concentrated healing properties placed directly in your joint to restore and repair that damaged tissue. Imagine waking up every morning this fall with no more pain in your knees, your hips, your shoulder, your back, with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. It's all about the motion in life. And QC Kinetics is giving people their lives back with this all-natural treatment. Give my friends a call today, 850-391-4280. That's 850-391-4280. 850-391-4280. QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine.
The leaves are starting to fall, the temperatures will start to fall, and the prices are falling right now at Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas. Incredible dealer discounts up to $5,000 are available on all hot spring spas, the industry leader in hot tubs and spas. If you've never experienced the sensation and relaxation of having your own hot tub in your backyard on a cool evening, you're truly missing out. The cold months are coming, and now's the time to set yourself up for the best winter season you've ever had. Plus, you'll gain the added health benefits of reduced stress, relief of sore muscles, and better sleep. You'll feel so relaxed after a nice soak in your new hot spring spa. You'll experience some of the best sleep of your life. Head over to Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas on Greer Road and check out their huge showroom packed with the best selection of hot tubs and spas available. And ask about getting up to $5,000 in discount, low interest financing, and a free accessory to make your hot tub dreams come true. If you're ready to relax, Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas is ready to show you how.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Your thoughts on this, Tom? Because we both love baseball, watch baseball. I think we have a pretty good handle on the game of baseball. So this is what's also maddening about it. It's why it's so different. The postseason is so different from the regular season. There are good aspects to that and bad aspects to that. So you see the Rays get swept out of there, and they're not competitive. Not competitive even a little bit. And you watch 7-1 yesterday. They're lucky to score a run in the two games combined. And yet, baseball is measured over a 162 game season, right? And you have injuries and you have guys that get lost for the year, and you call guys up and you figure out your pin and rain delays and doubleheaders and all the things that go into a season that hold a mirror up to you to tell you what you are or are not. And by that measure, any team that wins 99 games or 98 games or whatever it was for the Rays, any team that does win that amount of games is good. Unequivocally, you can state that team is a good baseball team, period. It's not something to be argued. They are good. Very good, in fact. In fact, you would consider that team one of the best teams in baseball, period.
You have to.
You're
a very good team if you're touching around 100 wins.
If you get close to 100 wins, it's really hard to do, right? Very hard to do. And, they had a 33-inning scoreless streak that they snapped with that one run in the seventh. but they weren't competitive. They committed 4 errors in the first game. They'd done that once all year in 162 games. Once. Tied for the most errors that they had committed in a single game all season long. Now, I'll grant you Wander Franco is gone because allegedly he likes to molest little girls, and he's going to pay a dear price for that, thankfully. And that's a huge loss for them. And they had some really devastating injuries, but they found a way to overcome a lot of those to win 99 games. And so how is it that you can unequivocally state that a team is very, very good at playing baseball, that it's empirical evidence of that fact, and they can have 2 games in which they are completely and utterly overwhelmed and non-competitive in their at-bats? Everything about the game of baseball looks foreign to them. It was remarkable. Now, this isn't something new. This happens. And it's cruel for baseball fans. Can you imagine you invest 162 games, you see a team win nearly 100 games, and then they go out at home and look like they've never played the game of baseball before? It would encourage the average baseball fan and fan in general to say maybe they need to reassess how they go about. Maybe Kevin Cash needs to take a good long look in the mirror about the way he manages that team in the postseason as opposed to regular season. But that's crazy. That's crazy. You can't accidentally win 99 games and be a terrible manager.
Yeah, it's the nature of the sport itself.
It is.
And you just have to be okay with it, even though it's not okay.
It's not okay. And you would be rightfully livid by that performance. That performance is putrid.
Yeah, agreed.
Putrid.
But it's a 2-game sample, and I'm sure that they had a 2-game sample during this 162-game season where they looked putrid, and you just picked one hell of a time for it to show up. Some of it might be nerves, but that doesn't account for 4 errors. It doesn't account for 33 straight innings of not scoring. Like yesterday, I'm watching the Twins game, and they advanced. Everybody swept. Everybody went 2-0. That doesn't, that's an odds defier. You got bases loaded and 1 out for Toronto. I forget who's at the plate. Right-handed batter. Smokes it down the left field line. 4 inches foul.
Yeah, it's clearing the bases if it's fair.
It's a 2-0 game at the time. It's going to be 2-2 or 3-2. Depends on the carom if the base is clear or not. A pitch or 2 later, Taylor made 6-4-3 double play.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
it's nuts.
It is so random.
It's the hardest. It's the hardest part though, because over 162 games, it's not random. You are who you are over 162 games. They are a 99-win team. They are a really good baseball team. They defy logic. They win more games than any other franchise on the budget that they do. It makes 0 sense. They take your players that are terrible for you and make them great for them. They routinely fleece people that they make trades with. Their front office is always the best in baseball. Think about that. And yet today, if you're a Rays fan, you're thinking about firing the manager and wanting to make changes, even though that would be foolish.
Well, it's just, this is the problem. I think there's been an overcorrection towards probability and analytics. Probability and analytics take you to the doorstep of fate, but it's not like, so what? You've got a 74% chance to win the game.
Right, they're still played by humans. You got to go play the game, and that other team could win.
Know which if it's the 74 or the 26.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Yeah. Like that's the thing is we get so caught up in win probability and analytics, and we need them. Do not get me wrong. I'm not saying that they are not useful. They are very useful. They put you in the best position to succeed.
You got to use them, right?
Poker players out there, if you got pocket aces and hold them, does that guarantee that you're winning the hand? No. It puts you in the best position.
Puts you in a very good position to win the hand, yes.
But you lose a ton of hands with it.
And you're playing the odds. And over the long haul, it plays in your favor with the pocket aces. Of course it does. But in a very small sample size, you could get boned.
And the other problem is that we're a football society.
Oh, and we want everything right now.
And bigger, stronger, faster leads to a higher probability of an outcome. Whereas when you do something like a third party of throwing a baseball or hitting a baseball, it's just different.
It is weird, though. They didn't walk not one time in that game yesterday. Just bad at bat after bad at bat. It was remarkable. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with.
Don't go anywhere. Your chance to win $1,000 is coming up next on Real Talk 93.3 WVFT, Gretna, Tallahassee.
The latest betting odds and live movements from Vegas. This is your action update. Now here are your latest lines from our guys in the desert.
Jacksonville Jaguars, a 5.5-point underdog against the Buffalo Bills in London, England on Sunday morning. Trevor Lawrence passing prop bet. 246.5 passing yards, 1.5 touchdown tosses. That is minus 130 to the under. Calvin Ridley, 59.5 receiving yards. Wide receivers Jamal Agnew and Zay Jones limited in practice yesterday. Florida Gators an 18-point home favorite against Vanderbilt. The total 52 at the Swamp. Last year, it was Vanderbilt beating Florida 31-24 in Nashville, ending an 8-game losing streak of the series. Florida State laying 23.5 at home with Virginia Tech. Get your free VSiN subscription right now at VSIN.com. For more sports betting news and information, go to VSIN.com. Mike Sennett, Real Talk 93.3.
Yo, J Balvin here. Verizon just hooked me up with a new iPhone 15 Pro with titanium. How can you get one? By switching to my plan at your Verizon store, get the amazing new iPhone 15 Pro on them. When you trade in any iPhone, any model, any condition, guaranteed. Now listen to my new song, Dientes, on your way to get the new iPhone 15 Pro.
Don't miss out. Switch to my plan from Verizon today. It's your Verizon. $999.99, 128 gigabyte only device payment purchase or full retail purchase with new smartphone line and unlimited ultimate plan required. Less $1,000 trade-in or promo credit applied over 36 months. Promo credit ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. 0% APR.
Explore 50% off everything for a limited time. Now through October 9th at Banana Republic Factory. Save on elevated fall essentials, polished occasion wear, and more. Only at your nearest Banana Republic Factory store.
Juice Reel, the betting intelligence tool that's making better bettors. Open the App Store and get your hands on Juice Reel. Juice, R-E-E-L. Juice Reel. Juice, R-E-E-L.
Honey, I just got a text from Dave. He wants us to come over for a barbecue. What's our excuse for not going?
Oh, no need for an excuse anymore because Dave got a new grill from Hearth and Patio.
Oh, thank goodness. Dave, we will be happy to join y'all this weekend, and congrats on the new grill from Hearth and Patio. My wife said she would bring potato salad.
Hearth and Patio invites you to elevate your grilling game this year with one of their amazing grills from Fire Magic, Broil Master, or Blaze Grills. Call them today, 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282, or visit them online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com. Hearth and Patio, making barbecues great in the Sunshine State.
Honey, Dave said no raisins in the potato salad this time.
Call them today, 850-727-4282. That's 850-727-4282, or visit them online at hearthpatiotallahassee.com.
It's time to splash into cash with Swain Pools and Spas. Here is your next keyword.
Have. H-A-V-E. Have. H-A-V-E. Have.
Text that keyword now to 508-777-1000. That's 508-777-1000 for your chance to win $1,000. Sponsored by Swain Pools and Spas.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Some
come on, it was a piddly
fictitious
amount.
company. Damn it, man. You know what it did? It taught me a lesson. You can't be so willy-nilly on checking your balance. You got to check some things out a little bit. Look at your statements. I don't always look at my statements. How irresponsible am I? That's crazy. The statement comes and you're like, the statement's here.
You could say banks and credit institutions are predatory in some ways, and I'd agree with you. I'd agree with you. But if they said, hey, you should have been checking your statements here rather than, we'll refund you the whole total, it'd be kind of fair. And
they didn't say that, though.
And they don't, though.
No, they don't say that. They know the deal. Well, it's the era of cybercrime, buddy.
Cybercrime.
It's what's going on in the world. Cybercrime everywhere.
It used to be at the gas pump,
Oh, yeah, you don't use your card.
They'd rip your card information.
Hide your PIN. I never did. I would be like, I'm not hiding my PIN. If they're stealing my stuff, they're stealing my stuff. They're just hiding my PIN nonsense. But yeah, no,
Use
what it is.
Debit card only. Yeah.
No, you buy something online, that's your ass. You kind of know it's out there. Somebody's got it. Second you do it, somebody's probably watching. Like, oh, buying some socks, are you, Mr. Cameron? That's what
I'd love
doing.
to have a sock deal, wouldn't you?
A
like
sock
pushing
deal?
socks.
Sure.
That would be a really fun thing to endorse.
I'd rather have
Check
a
these
shoe
out, like,
deal
every day.
I'd prefer the shoe deal over the sock deal, but sure.
Socks are fun.
They are fun, but they're socks. They're not shoes, nor shirts or hats. They're down low on the totem pole of things I want to endorse if I have my choice.
I just want to hear on this show you go, hey, everybody, get
Check
you some
these socks out. They're quality socks, everybody.
We should have JCS socks.
We could.
JC socks.
We could. So in this mutual pool that we're in that involves chips.
Yeah.
I doubled down on the Thursday night game and won it.
Oh, nice.
And we had to bet either the Thursday or Friday game in order to win. If you wanted to, it was a choice.
Yeah.
And I bet it and I doubled down and won. But then if you won, you had to bet the next game. You were required then to bet the Saturday. I went all in on LSU.
Oh, you're out?
I'm gone.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm out of there.
James, why?
I lost all my chips on that LSU secondary.
I bet on LSU too, but it was just 15 chips.
I bet them all. Every chip I had. Yeah, it's gambling. But that's all right. I lost my chips in that pool that we're in. LSU can go to hell. Brian Kelly this week said, and he kind of pulled a Rick Pitino. It was fantastic.
No, he did not.
No, in a good way. It made me laugh. A reporter said, asking him about members of the secondary, the group that gave up over 720 yards. That's ridiculous. Say it out loud. If they'd played 5 more minutes, there might have been 1,000 yards gained by Ole Miss. But anyhow, a reporter asked him about the secondary, and he goes, they asked why they were struggling so much. And he said, well, we've had an injury. We're having to play a freshman. One of the guys tonight had his first start on the road ever, and I can keep going.
Johnny's got explosive diarrhea.
He's like, but I can. This made me laugh. He goes, I can keep going, but we don't have anybody else. And he's looking at the guy. We don't have anybody else. We have to play the kids that are out there right now. And then he's like, so and so's not walking through that door. And I was like, oh, he's going Pitino. Larry Bird's not walking through that door, everybody. Kevin McHale, Dennis Johnson's not walking through that door. Same thing. He's named every great,
Patrick Peterson.
Patrick Peterson and Honey Badger aren't walking through that door. We got to play the kids we got.
Oh, man.
And it made me laugh because I thought, man, that's, actually he's not being angry, but that's a toughie. Like, that's pretty well. He's telling you the kid sucks.
That reminds me. So I leave the station one day 2 months ago, and I'm at the traffic light at the bottom of the hill, and I called you, and I said, man, you got to watch this video. You got to watch this video about LSU that I just saw. And it was about the secondary and camp. And you're like, okay. I'm like, I'm telling you, you really need to. Because it's our guy over there. He goes, I charted every play from practice today.
And he went through the whole thing about
receivers
they don't have
versus defensive backs.
Yeah.
And it was 17 of 19 that the receivers won. I go, oh my God, I know that they've got good receivers, but buddy, we're in business.
Yeah, you and I felt that way very strongly, especially after hearing that. It turned out to be true. Not just for us,
I believe
but
he
also
did chart every one of those plays.
He did.
Yeah.
Here's the problem. It just belittles Florida State's win. It really does. And now you sit back and how many more teams are they going to lose to? Anybody that has a quarterback that can throw it around a little bit is a candidate to beat LSU.
That's correct, but doesn't it buoy your argument about Florida State's defense?
Yes, it does, because I think their offense is very, very good. And in the second half of that football game, Florida State held LSU to 7 points, and really it was a garbage time 7 points against our third string. They didn't even earn that. So there is that. I agree with you. That game oddly makes me more concerned, and I've expressed this much to the dismay of many, about our offense. I mean, you don't get a lot of credit for that anymore. So what? You torch that sorry-ass secondary. Great. Everybody does. Arkansas lit their ass up before Ole Miss did too.
Yes, I think that you still get credit for it, not as much, but you get credit for it because it's a first game, there's fact-finding going on, and you just put a whole bunch of stuff on tape that the other teams can now exploit.
No, you get credit for their success to some degree, but also they're just exploiting the things that you were able to showcase, which means that, look, they have real problems with personnel in the secondary. So, I mean, look, you don't get in trouble for beating LSU. It just, instead of being a feather in your cap, it becomes, in retrospect, something you should have done. And that stinks as a descriptor for that game. It shouldn't, but you play the whole season. Like, look, for as bad as that game now, well, I shouldn't say as bad. That's not the right word.
See, that's the tone I'm
hearing. Okay.
Yeah.
As much as that win has been belittled by what we've subsequently seen from that LSU defense, I will tell you the opposite is going to be true of the Clemson win. The Clemson win is going to look more and more and more impressive with every game that goes by, because Clemson's defense is really effing good. And Clemson is going to go on to, I think, go 9-3 on the season. They'll have a fluke loss to Duke in which they fumbled it 16 times inside the 5. And they're going to have an overtime loss to Florida State, who's going to finish with at least 11 wins. So Clemson's going to look like a team that really was really good and this close from being a playoff team. And so people will look back and say, well, you can say Florida State should have lost, but they didn't. They won on the road. They made the plays to win the game when they had to. The blitz, that's called. That's a forced fumble.
Yes.
He didn't just drop it willy-nilly like our boy Wilson for the Jets, just inexplicably dropping a snap with nobody around him.
And we were swinging for the downs repeatedly with the blitzes.
Right. And we were swinging for the downs on the jump balls. So that was an action taken, and it paid off in the end. And you made stops to force a field goal instead of giving up a touchdown. It's not our fault. They brought some slappy end that hadn't kicked, that was living in an apartment in New York, and all of a sudden he's out here trying to kick.
Yeah, nor is it our fault they call a trick play on second and 11 when they're moving the ball.
Yeah, just dumb.
What are
just
you
dumb.
doing?
And it's not our fault that they didn't remind their quarterback not to audible to the throw on the RPO and turn and hand the ball off to one of the best running backs in the country. But the point is, that win's going to look better and better and better for Florida State. The LSU win's going to look a little less than, unfortunately. But let's get back to us, which is go stomp Virginia Tech Saturday, and I think they're going to. And then let's get humming with this offense, because if that happens, Florida State's going to be in a prime position. I think we'll bet that it's likely going to be Texas and us and Michigan, and then you guys have at it for the other team, because I think Michigan's going to beat Ohio State. So, I mean, it's a fun debate, but I think we'll be one of those teams without question that gets talked about in the right frame.
So you just got done talking about how the offense looks more disappointing in retrospect because of LSU's poor defense.
But you just don't get as much credit. You just don't get as much credit, yeah.
And how the defense actually looks much better against LSU, but they're Jekyll and Hyde. I still think that there's less to learn about the Florida State offense from a production standpoint. Like, if you see a result and there's a lot of points, it probably should happen against Virginia Tech. What I'm fascinated by is what they choose to do and what they choose to define as their core and their base plays this weekend. But I think the bigger test from the opponent is for Florida State's defense against what Virginia Tech does. They've found a bit of a rhythm here.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a system that requires motion, misdirection, a strong quarterback who can run you over if you're not squared up and ready to hit him.
They got a guy.
Also, it requires you to get downhill and make decisions. So a lot of these elements that we've been inconsistent with, we've been good at times, don't get me wrong. Like, I feel kind of bad. I put the article out there. It's Third and Lang on warchant.com right now. It talks about some of those issues. All I'm doing is I'm breaking down the things that we don't do right. There's a lot that we do right, especially when we play aggressive. But of those issues that we have with communication and motion and not staying at home, or holding the edge or picking a bad running lane or guessing. This is an offense that can test us in just about every single one of those areas. Now, they shouldn't beat you in all of those areas consistently down the field, but you could give up 24 and look poor at handling these things, or you could give up 21 or 17 points and you'd say, all right, we are where we're supposed to be. Clearly, the message is resonating. That's the side of the ball that I am locked in on this week, is just to see how we handle those responsibilities, and are we playing smarter?
I think we're going to play smarter. I think we're going to play more aggressive. I think we're going to get downhill. I think we're going to put them in second and third and long frequently, and I think Florida State's got a real opportunity to kind of shed themselves of the reputation of not being able to get off to a good start against a mobile quarterback in particular. I think they will. I think they will this weekend. Now, if they don't, we have obviously something to talk about. It would be a continuation of a conversation we've already had time and again, and it would become loathsome.
Well, the frustrating thing is, before the Clemson game, this is not Monday morning quarterbacking. Before the Clemson game, we were saying, did you learn your lesson from Boston College that we need to play more aggressive, play more press, get downhill? And they didn't. They played back.
They stayed back.
So we're asking the question again. It's like, again, I ask you, as we play Virginia Tech, are we mush rushing, playing too high and containing, or are we getting downhill more often? And I would hope, now that you have two pieces of evidence, not just the Boston College game, but also the start against Clemson, that that's exactly what we do.
I would hope so too, Tom. I'm going to bet on it. In fact, I'm going to bet that they do that. The news of the day, and a lot of people have chimed in late because you didn't hear the first hour, but obviously we led the show with this because it does perhaps directly affect Florida State, or maybe not. You never know with the NCAA. They're very hard to predict, save for the fact that they suffered a lot of public relations backlash after not allowing Tez Walker of North Carolina to be eligible. The thought at that time certainly was similar to that of the situation with Darrell Jackson. You heard a lot of public outcry within the state amongst politicians and others saying that it's unfair what they've done to Darrell Jackson as well, and that maybe the NCAA needs to reconsider their policy. And then it kind of went away after the night game that North Carolina played, in which meaning the NCAA, was admonished both by the announcers and by Mac Brown prior to that game, etc. It kind of just drifted off, and you didn't hear much about it again until today. And the NCAA granted Tez Walker his eligibility. He is now eligible to play. Now, they didn't do so without being petty. They didn't do so without admonishing North Carolina and alleging that North Carolina was the guilty party here, having not provided information to the NCAA that would have made the school's efforts to get Tez Walker eligible more fruitful. In fact, they had this to say, sounding petty as always. It is unfortunate that North Carolina failed to provide this important information previously. While we must be careful not to compromise a student-athlete's right to privacy when it comes to sensitive issues, we want to assure the Division I membership and everyone watching how the new transfer rules are applied that this meets the new transfer waiver standard. UNC's behavior and decision to wage a public relations campaign is inappropriate and outside the bounds of the process North Carolina's own staff supported. Had the UNC staff not behaved in this fashion and submitted this information weeks ago, this entire unfortunate episode could have been avoided. Now, that's nonsense. Something to point out here, Tom, that if you look at this statement yet again, I want to focus on one part of this, where they're basically admitting to you that they made this kid suffer because they did not appreciate the way North Carolina went on a quote-unquote public relations campaign. You ready? The decision to wage a public relations campaign is inappropriate and outside the bounds of process UNC's own staff supported. Had North Carolina not behaved in this fashion, you stop there.
Wow. That's on the record?
That's the same thing I read before, but I only now noticed that they are incorporating this as one of, along with the absent information reasons that they did not give this kid his eligibility. They're saying it in print. Had North Carolina staff not behaved in this fashion and submitted this information weeks ago. So they're telling you they penalized that kid because they were mad at North Carolina's public relations campaign, in addition to not having the information allegedly that they needed to give that kid his eligibility. That is some petty nonsense and, well,
and North Carolina did respond to it, which I was interested to see if they would. But Bubba Cunningham released a statement, which is wiping up on the screen now.
Oh, well, that's a good idea. Let's see what Bubba Cunningham had to say. We are happy, and we can certainly enlarge that for these old eyes. We are happy. Oh, you had it.
Won't do it.
All right, I'll do my best. We are happy that Tez Walker is now eligible to play and enjoy doing what he loves to do. However, stop moving around. We're good. The justification provided by the NCAA today is not accurate. The university submitted all necessary information and documentation as it was made available to us at the time, and we still believe Tez met all standards for the waiver in early August. It is not clear why the NCAA delayed making the correct decision then, but we are pleased to get to the appropriate resolution now. Good. I'm glad he did, and it's hard for me to back North Carolina with all the nonsense that they've been the benefactor of over the years. But come on, man.
I think it's still a work. This is all a charade.
Oh, planned by the NCAA and North Carolina hand in hand? We're going to say this and look petty. You retort. We'll have it go back and forth, and that way nobody will focus on the fact that we F this thing up from the get-go?
I think it is because they have a shield, which is new stuff has come to light.
Yeah.
I stick to that. Like so if they are pressed by Florida State or by any other institution about, well, wait a minute, Goose Gander here. Why are we good now with his eligibility and not ours when we have similar situations? Well, look, there was new information that they submitted.
Some new things.
What is the new information? Well, we're not going to disclose that. Privacy concerns.
The reprimand is ridiculous, first of all, and it is beneath, you would think, an organization the size of the NCAA. But of course, I'm alive. I've been on this earth for some time, and we've watched the NCAA operate in the past in this manner. But if you really thought about what it's tasked to do and the size of that group, you would think that this would be well beneath them, that this is something, okay, so I'll give you an example. This will go over well. ESPN is the whipping post for everybody who gets mad at sports media for anything. ESPN takes a whooping from every fan base in the country. They think ESPN's commentators are out to get them. They think that their coverage is slanted. They think that their hosts are out to get them over and over and over again. This is what you hear, right? If you think about it just objectively from this standpoint, whether you believe that or not believe that, just listen to my larger point. You'll notice that most of the time, NCAA goes out of their way to ignore those accusations completely because their thought, rightfully, is we're bigger than that. I don't really need to respond to Larry in Phoenix's concerns that one of our announcers doesn't like the Suns. I'm not going to do it. It's beneath us, okay? Most corporations and larger entities of that magnitude dealing with the kinds of problems that they deal with on a day-to-day basis don't have time to worry about us peons' thoughts on their presentation of a game, a singular game, when they're going to do thousands, okay? The NCAA, by rights, should be better than this. They're ruling on hundreds and hundreds of things a week. They don't have time to worry about the way something's presented for a singular entity, player, or university. They ought not if they're operating properly. But they reveal themselves to be petty and wildly inconsistent and ineffective. Why, after all this time, after having had their legs cut out from under them, a lot of their power absolutely usurped, why do they continue to do that kind of dumbassery around every turn? It's bizarre. And again, speaks to the lack of a legitimate leader governing collegiate sports and or, if you'd like, college football, a czar, somebody who would be better than that.
You know what the first step is to getting there?
Finding one? Finding the czar?
Letting Daryl Jackson play. That's the first step. I will start to believe just a little bit more in the NCAA if they do the right thing and let 14 play.
It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
This is Jamie McClenny of Trek Financial, co-host of Cover Your Assets here on Real Talk 93.3. Since three of the largest bank failures in U.S. history last March, The S&P 500 is up over 10% as DC politicians added an additional $1.5 trillion in spending after raising the debt ceiling. This rally has been extremely narrow as a handful of mega cap stocks are responsible for over 70% of the gain on the S&P 500 year to date. The yield on the 10-year Treasury has been below the 3-month rate for over 200 trading days, the longest streak in 6 decades. As one economist quipped, ignore these signals at your own risk. Managing downside risk is one of the biggest challenges that you will face in retirement, but a clearly defined risk management protocol can help to mitigate large drawdowns in your retirement nest egg. If you're concerned about where all of this might be headed, give me a call at 850-900-5200 and schedule an office visit to discover the risk in your current portfolio.
Investment advisory services offered through Trek Financial LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Whidden Glass has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Whidden Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best. Like Whidden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Whidden Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Whidden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
Orthopedic pain and injury deserves effective treatment options now, so you feel better fast. Whether you have joint pain that won't subside or an urgent orthopedic injury, we are the specialists to get you back on your feet. And there's only one thing better than fast care: expert care. We believe you deserve both. TOC, only experts. Learn more at teamtoc.com.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future. There's no doubt that buying a home can feel overwhelming, especially if it's your first home. You're worried about location, school zones, square footage, inspections, insurance, loan approvals, interest rates, and of course the price. Buying a home could be the most significant investment you've ever made. But there's good news. You have our friends at Legendary Home Loans, and they're on your side and in your corner. They're going to go to bat for you. Shannon Young from Legendary Home Loans can help first-time home buyers get up to $25,000 for your down payment. For first responders, veterans, teachers, military, and healthcare workers, and that's not all, Shannon is an expert navigator of the home loan terrain, and you can trust that he's going to get you the most competitive interest rates and guide you through the process every step of the way. Plus, Shannon will also get your closing costs reduced. It's the Hometown Heroes program at Legendary Home Loans. Give them a call today, 844-FSU-LOAN. That's 844-FSU-LOAN. Or go to FSUHomeLoans.com and ask for Shannon Young.
NMLS number 2270-146.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Welcome back to the Jeff Cameron Show, sponsored by Legendary Home Loans, a mortgage experience designed around speed, simplicity, and customer service. Before you buy your next home, contact our friend Shannon Young with Legendary Home Loans. Visit FSUHomeLoans.com. FSUHomeLoans.com.
Great partners and absolutely awesome at what they do. You know this because even though they're right here in Tallahassee, Florida, they serve the nation. over 80 unique clients. In their history, over 1,500 projects. And they get it. They know there are unique challenges that are certainly inherent to government operations. And they've been solving the future for those situations for over 4 decades, serving state, government, and business clients alike across the country. Experts in the government processes that can be, clunky. They've worked within government agencies and across the country. They've had unmatched expertise in developing strategies within technology, and technological solutions are a big deal. So you want to run more efficiently, you want to get things done, you want people to get paid when they're supposed to get paid and all that other stuff. ISF. Tom, what are we solving? What do you think about here for solving the future today?
Well, everybody's thinking about the offense and how it's going to be fixed. And I know the running game's the center of a lot of that, whether it's Jordan's legs or are we going to be able to run counter or do we need to do something a little different? But I want to look at the passing game. How about who is from this point forward, not any stats from before today, Florida State's third leading wide receiver, specific to wide receiver, between now and Charlotte, because I'm saying we're going to Charlotte. But who's going to be that guy?
All right. So you're not saying who's been that guy up to now. You're saying who's going to be that guy moving forward.
Like the 6 catches combined for Destin and Winston, out the door. Darion's catch against Southern Miss,
the
out
one
the door.
catch. The one catch.
Yeah.
Well, oddly, I still think it's probably Jaheim Bell.
No, wide receiver.
Oh,
Gotta
okay.
be.
Can't be a tight end.
That's where it's fun.
Ooh. I like how quickly he went to the no. No, sir.
There are no copping outs here.
No
Lawrence Toafili, no Jaheim Bell, no Morlock.
Yeah, I think that's fun. That makes it more interesting. You're right. Who would I take? Well, I guess I'll come back to, so the third leading receiver. This gets tough.
There's a lot of prognostication here because I don't know that they know.
I'd like them to know this week. I'd like them to get this figured out, please. It has been getting frustrating. I would like to see this. All right. At the end of the day, we all know Johnny Wilson and Keon Coleman are going to be 1, 2 in some particular order. And I think Jaheim Bell will be 3, but Tom will not give me him. He will not give me Lawrence Toafili. He will not give me Trey Benson. He will not give me Kyle Morlock. He will not give me any of the guys. So I guess we're going to say at this point, it is going to be Destin Hill. He's played in 4 games. Florida State's played 4 games. The other guys have not. For example, if you were going to say Deuce Spannon, you wouldn't. He's not played in every game. If you're going to say Darion Williamson, it'd be a hard push to try to get Darion Williamson to be your third leading receiver in terms of targets. It just doesn't seem likely, right? And then from there, you start going down the list of possibilities. Hakeem Williams has 1 catch for 9 yards in 4 games?
Yeah.
I mean,
he's coming along, but he plays outside. This is the other thing. You got to look towards the middle of the field.
He's averaging 2 yards a game in receptions.
Well, I'm saying climbing the depth chart for Hakeem to be a slot guy doesn't make a lick of sense.
No. I'll tell you right now, and I really wish the kid could get it together. I don't know exactly what the problem is. I don't care to speculate because I'll get in trouble with Mike on this. But they have an extremely talented slot receiver whose only catch on the year led to a touchdown. And his name is Vendravius Jacobs. And I feel like he could have a field day if he could find his way onto the football field. Now, these are just observations anybody can make. You don't have to be at practice. You can look out on the football field and note that my man has played in 1 game. He has 1 reception, and it's a touchdown. He's a guy that we talked about all throughout camp, all throughout spring, a guy who was electrifying to watch, and a guy who all of us on staff said we thought would have an impact on this season. He's had 0 impact on this season when you consider that the 1 catch and touchdown was against Southern Miss, and I think 4 or 5 people came out of the stands to score against Southern Miss. So he's really been a persona non grata. He's not been anywhere to be found. And yet I think he has the kind of talent that could easily see him be the third leading receiver on this team moving forward if he could find the field. I would never bet that because I have no evidence that he's going to be on the field anytime soon. But I'm telling you, from a talent standpoint, if he could find a way onto the field, he would be that guy. He's a playmaker. He's going to make people miss. He runs smooth routes. He's got great hands. There's no reason that he can't get out there if he finds a way to get it right. Keep it between the lines. Keep it together.
I've got a name that's going to inspire you.
You're going to say Winston Wright.
Nope.
You're going to say Deuce Spann.
I am not.
You're going to say, well, damn, who the hell can you say? You can't say a tight end.
Nope. I could say Ja'Kai Douglas is what I can say. I think he's going to be the guy. And a couple of reasons. Number one, previous iterations of his career, we had to run bubbles, and he had to have guys blocking and springing and doing all kinds of stuff for a player like that. Now he lines up in the slot with two titans on the edges in terms of the attention that you have to pay to Keon Coleman and Johnny Wilson.
That's a good pick on your part. I don't disagree with you.
It's the fit for the offense.
I always think of him as a running back for some reason, probably because he's 5'9", 170.
But you could do a lot of pop pass stuff with him too. There's variety that you can bring to the offense. And my theory on this is if it was going to be Destin, it would have been by now.
Well,
you would have seen the rapport get built up. No, I'm not talking about his careers. I'm just saying the rapport with Jordan. Jordan trusts Ja'Kai implicitly.
He does.
He loves the hell out of Ja'Kai. And he talked about him in Charlotte. He talks about that dude incessantly. And he's gone to him in some big moments. So now if he's going to be in very, very favorable situations and you've got the trust factor with Jordan, he's been pre-snapping a lot and predetermining where he's going with the football. I don't know that he trusts Destin or Winston as much as he's going to trust Ja'Kai Douglas. There was an opportunity for those guys to build up the rapport. I'm not even saying that Ja'Kai Douglas is the best possible solution. I'm just saying it's the most likely because the quarterback likes him, and that matters.
It's a good bet on your part. It shouldn't be the answer, but I think you may be right. To me, you've got to get Destin Hill involved. You've got to find a way to take a player who's that dynamic, built like that, with that kind of explosiveness, size, and speed. There's no excuse, and it's really frustrating as we sit here today that it hasn't happened. But I think you might be right because he has always really fancied Ja'Kai Douglas, and he does trust him. There's no doubt about that. I'm happy for Ja'Kai. I got no problem for Ja'Kai. He's a tiny target. It's not ideal, but he is explosive with the football in his hand. And he played at a high school called Terrebonne, which makes me laugh. I always remembered that from the press release.
I got nothing on that. But what I will say is,
I'm sure they pronounce it differently. It's in Louisiana, right? Isn't he from Louisiana?
Terrebonne?
Yeah, they may be Terrebonne.
Maybe.
Oh, he's from over there around Terrebonne.
I just don't I think Kentron is your third best receiver if and when he's back up to full speed.
I haven't heard a word from him either.
But does that fit naturally with those other two guys on the field? I don't think it does. So if you're just thinking about variety, the spice of the offense, Ja'Kai fits nicely with what you got.
The young man from Terrebonne out here again. Let's hope that it happens. Maybe they say Terrebonne, which would be fine too.
And maybe Destin Hill has a great month and we forget about the fact that he was gone again for the entirety of September.
ISF, helping state governments solve the future through strategy, process, and technology. You need those right processes defined, then you need the execution and the solutions, and they collaborate with you. So make sure that if you're in state government or local agencies serving millions of citizens across this great state or the country, you go and contact my friends at ISF. To learn more, ISF.com. It's Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
A four-vehicle crash slowed traffic along the westbound lanes of I-10 in Gadsden County Wednesday. According to Florida Highway Patrol, 2 semis, an SUV, and a pickup were all involved in a crash around 5 p.m. FHP reported critical injuries, although it's unclear how many people were hurt. Troopers are still trying to piece together what exactly happened. Registration for the Salvation Army's Angel Tree program is now open for people who need assistance providing Christmas gifts this holiday season. The Angel Tree program wouldn't be possible without community members adopting families each year. If you're in need of assistance, assistance, you can go to the Salvation Army office and register. You can do so by visiting the Tallahassee Salvation Army's main office from 9 to 3 Monday through Friday. Registration ends on Friday, October 13th. Or you can also go to the Wakulla Library from 10 to 3 on Thursday. Children are not allowed at the sites during registration. The Angel Tree program benefits children aged 12 and under, along with people 65 and older. This is Rachel and A with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Partly cloudy skies this afternoon with a high of 87. Northeast winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Lows around 68 tonight, partly cloudy. High temperatures reach up to 87 tomorrow. A blend of clouds and sun. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Saturday with daytime highs approaching 80. 75 Sunday. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 86.
When your AC unit decides to give up the ghost, it doesn't always pick the best time. But no matter what time, day or night, or day of the week, you can call E&B Heating and Air Conditioning. We'll be out to bring your AC unit back to life. We've been repairing and replacing heating and air conditioning systems in the North Florida and South Georgia area since 1974. So when your air conditioner stops working, call E&B Heating and Air Conditioning to the rescue.
So everybody knows, Eddie, that you are a spectacular cook. Of course they know that. If they go into Bumpa's, the food is always good. I mean, everything on the menu.
Mm-hmm.
Everything at Gordo's is delicious. I always, of course, get the bungalow chungla, as I call it.
The bungalow chung, Jeff.
Is that what is the pork?
The bungalow chung, Jeff.
Okay, the bungalow chungla. It's delicious. All these things, all the items, everything you do, a master cook. But, sir, I would ask you, what is a skill that you possess that you're particularly proud of, that nobody would know, and that you could share with us here?
Growing hair, Jeff. Growing hair.
You're an asshole. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness. 2 Tallahassee locations, Midtown on Thomasville Road and Northside in the Village Common Shopping Center. Online at orangetheoryfitness.com.
But it's true. It's true. The National, long before they were ever big, played over at Florida State eons ago, ages ago, and nobody knew who they were, and it was like a sparse crowd. And then, yeah.
I caught myself doing that at Hotel Indigo not too long ago, talking to a fan who was there for the pregame show, and it was a father and a son. And I was trying to recall which year we did something against Miami. I was like, 06, 08, and I saw the kid, the glossed over look in his eyes, and I went,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's the look I had when people would talk about the 70s.
Yeah. Well, you give me that look when I talk about the 70s.
I still do. Yeah.
The only time, because you're an old soul and you see the world similarly.
Who was their title? Was
that.
it Richie Rogers
Yeah.
on the set? I'm like, it's Richie Rogers.
Yeah, I did the thing with you the one time I named somebody from I think it was the 78 or 79 Bucks, or maybe it was Cowboys or Steelers or somebody from that time, and you were like, just giving me that look like, what the hell? And I was like, oh, he's a great player. Yeah, I remember him well. Well, Russ Francis just died. Tied in. I remember him as with San Francisco. He died in a plane crash.
Yeah.
No, I remember Russ Francis's whole career.
And when was that career, out of curiosity?
Late 80s.
Okay.
70s and 80s. Yeah, he just died tragically. Something was wrong with the plane that he was in. He was another guy. It was a small plane. They were going out on a photography thing, and the engine stopped. And here's what sucks, by the way, and I'm not making light of this. That sucks. That's a terrible way to go. By all rights, Russ had a great life. He was 70 years old. But they knew there was a problem because it was a tandem thing where another flight was going with them, and they radioed ahead and said they were having problems with the engine. We're turning around. Well, they turned around. The engine just stopped working, man. Now, see, that's the problem. Car breaks down. The engine stops working. You pull the hell over to the side of the road. Make a phone call. Up in the air, the plane stops working. We got some issues. And there was another guy in the plane. Now, imagine that moment. Well, you're going to look to the pilot. So if you're the guest, you're the guy that's with Russ. Russ has assured you that this is safe. It's all good. All of a sudden, we don't hear an engine. Russ, is this normal? No, we're going to turn the plane around. Are you concerned? Russ, no, we're going to be all right. Man, can you imagine that moment? That ain't good. Oh.
Small planes, man.
Gives me the willies.
No, thank you.
Remember Jack O'Brien? Oh, they're so safe. You guys wouldn't believe it. It's the.
I wonder if that show's still going.
Oh, ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, that used to make me laugh.
I remember our T-shirt commercial that he voiced.
You're flying blind, boys.
Start the new year off with a bang.
with a bang.
For T-shirts.
Guy was the best.
He was awesome.
I could listen to oh my God, I could listen to that story any of his stories over and over and over again. He was the voice of the University of Florida for a while on the PA. And I went to the game where he was a PA, and I saw him in the hall. He's like, "Hey, Jeff, how are you? The Mighty Gators are about to take the stage." Good old Jack. And a golfing fool when he wasn't flying.
Yeah, and you would get an F-bomb out of nowhere. Like, there would be no warning it was coming. So, I was on the golf course today, and I was playing, and it was a great time, great morning, good weather. And they just shouted.
Man, yeah. And I'll tell you.
And I freaking suck, And you're like,
whoa. Jesus, man. We still don't know about Daryl Jackson. You guys have inquired throughout the day, obviously, as the news got out about Tez Walker. Eligible to play, ready to go. Transfer from Kent State is going to get an opportunity to play. And I'm happy for that kid, by the way.
P. Simpson knows of the show. Sorry. I just had
the radio show?
He's got it. He's got the title right there.
What's the name of it?
High Flying with Jack O'Brien.
Of course it is. You sure you didn't make that up?
No, Sunday morning show. That's it.
Oh, my God. Welcome to High Flying with Jack O'Brien. Hey, everybody.
I knew the name of it.
Let's talk about flying with Jack O'Brien.
He's not lying.
Good God. That is too funny, P. Simpson. Just the name alone is the best. Oh, that won't work, Susan. How about High Flying with Jack O'Brien? I like it.
I hope we have an O'Brien here at some point on the football team. Because then we could just do O'Brien jokes the whole time. And this is laughing with Jack. Jack was the best.
Oh, no, we loved him. I wish he could have stuck
There
around.
were other general managers that we're not laughing with.
Live Spectator, you mentioned that Russ Francis played with the Patriots first. Yeah, and listen, also, my man TPE, I think you're right. Russ Francis playing today would be something. He was phenomenal. Russ Francis was a phenomenal player. It's actually interesting to go back and look at that era of tight ends. There were a bevy of really good tight ends from that era that I feel like more than most positions could translate to today. You're still talking about 250, 260-pound guys that could really run, that would block, that were huge. Like Mark Bavaro could play today. Do you remember Mark Bavaro at all?
He was always on television in his post-playing career. So, sure, I remember him. But certainly not releasing out into a hitch.
He was the kind of tight end that ran over people in a way that left you embarrassed for them. You would shudder. Bavaro was made of steel. Guys would just fly off of him. He once trucked Ronnie Lott in a Monday Night Football game, and you didn't truck Ronnie Lott, and Ronnie Lott looked like a small child. It's like when Greg Jones ran over Sean Taylor, which I could watch on a loop. Because people didn't do that to Sean
And that was
Taylor.
straight up. That wasn't you caught him in a weird place. Like, for example,
straight up trucked his ass.
You saw that Shipley got Renardo Green.
Oh, he did get Renardo.
But
And
Renardo
he bitched him, but Renardo came right back.
Renardo did, but Renardo was also arriving from elsewhere. He was not ready to square up and go full steam for full steam. So while he got caught, that wasn't exactly a Sean Taylor, Greg Jones, here we go, best man wins in the collision. Later on, Renardo did get him behind the line of scrimmage with a nasty.
And he was proud. It wasn't much later on. I think it was the next play, 2 plays later, something like that.
It was early next quarter, early fourth quarter. Yeah.
By the way, if you want to go through this, I just pulled it up because I was curious. Now, we all remember, and for you older gentlemen out there listening to this show, come on and have some fun with me. Let's go for this ride. 1980, 81, 82. So this is an era Tom is not familiar with whatsoever. Far away, look in his eye, play the bit. It's all there. But look at these tight ends around the league that would play and play well to now. To this day, Jimmy Giles, okay, Tampa Bay Buccaneers,
sure,
phenomenal. Kellen Winslow, who is an all-time ass, one of the worst people to ever walk the earth. Not surprising that his son turned out to be a criminal and also an ass. But if we're just talking about ability, Kellen Winslow had massive game. You know, I had to introduce Kellen Winslow when he came here for the quarterback club, one of the worst human beings I've ever spoken to. Then for about an hour, he was FAMU's athletic director, and they quickly ran him out of there, too. He's a piece of garbage.
TallahasseeQBClub.com.
Russ Francis, aforementioned, when he was with the Patriots in 1980, and he went on to be great with the 49ers. You can go on. Dave Casper was a stud. You've heard these names. I know you.
Dave Casper.
Well, Ozzie Newsome. Ozzie Newsome with the Cleveland Browns was an absolute superstar. There, you could go on and on and on, the amount of really talented guys throughout the 80s that Todd Christensen, who had the Jerry curl and for years did color commentating in the NFL, was awesome for the Raiders in the 80s, was a phenomenal player. Then somehow lost his damn mind. People from the 80s lost their mind. I don't know. CTE.
Nobody knew why back in those days. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cocaine, CTE. Yeah, man.
I think you nailed the combo right there.
That's right.
Zeke Mowat was a stud with the Giants. You don't remember, what you know about Zeke Mowat. He was
Nothing.
a stud.
I think that's a great name, though.
It's an all-time great
Zeke
name.
Mowat. Like if there was a 2025 tight end that Florida State was on,
You want to
Zeke
sign
Mowat,
him, yeah.
I would go to the battlesend.com right now and drop bags.
You should anyhow. Spagnola, who's now
coach.
That's right. He was a stud tight end back in the day.
Was he really?
Yeah, he was.
Oh.
Ozzie Newsome was still kicking ass by the time we get to the mid to the late 80s.
It's 2 Ozzie Newsomes.
Mark Bavaro, who was by about 86, 87, Mark Bavaro was the best tight end in football. He had passed Kellen Winslow, who was on the downside of his career, and then the great Clint Didier. Oh,
What?
Tom Lang, let me tell you about some Clint Didier.
No, this is a
No,
test.
that's a real guy. Clint Didier was a stud. Washington Redskins.
Clint Didier.
He was a stud. He was on a Super Bowl team. Clint Didier had a little something to him.
Joe Gibbs.
Keith Jackson out of the University of Oklahoma.
Keith Jackson.
Oklahoma University, yeah. Keith Jackson, not Whoa Nelly Keith Jackson. Yeah, but Keith Jackson, he was a stud.
How about that Keith Jackson? Was he a tight end back in
No, I don't
1940?
think that. No, I don't think he was. Touchdown, Alabama. No, he was. No, he was not.
There he is.
Good old
141 catches for Clint Didier. It's a distinguished career.
No, if you go that season, go look at that season I referenced Clint Didier from. He was a stud. That was the 86, 87 season. Clint was good. There's some tight ends that get drafted. They had the way they used tight ends back then, very different, Tom. You don't understand.
I'm trying to think of the first tight end that I can remember in the NFL.
It bothers me that you don't remember Mark Bavaro or Kellen Winslow or.
No, I don't. Was there somebody in the 90s, like the early 90s, that was a stud at that position?
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time.
The early 90s?
Yeah.
Let's go to break. Oh, we don't have the show's almost over.
I mean, but Daryl Johnson was a fullback, so he didn't count, right? Moose wasn't a tight
Jay
end.
Novacek. Do you remember Jay Novacek in the 90s for the Cowboys?
Yeah.
He was on the Super Bowl winning teams of the early 90s. Jay Novacek was a superstar. Do you remember?
Well, Tony Gonzalez was like, the entirety, the late 90s, early 2000s. Algie Crumpler's a good one. That's a good one.
That's later 90s, though. That's not early 90s. 90s. By the way, Shannon Sharp was originally a tight end. Or is a tight end. Yeah, Shannon Sharp.
That's it. That's the
Shannon
answer.
Sharp's the answer.
Shannon Sharp.
Ben Coates. You remember Ben Coates?
Oh, Ben
Coates. There you go. Get your little Ben Coates in
man.
here. Yeah, I just thought about Ben. Ben Coates was a stud. By the way, all of those years we're naming, where I went back to the 80s all the way to right now, Keith Jackson was still playing in the league.
I think Mercedes Lewis was playing in the 90s. He's still going.
Bavaro was also still playing in the 90s. Pin coach, Shannon Sharp, Brent Jones, Keith Jackson, Johnny Mitchell, Eric Green.
Algie
You remember Eric Green?
Not really. Algie Crumpler, though, is a great one.
Algie Crumpler. Mark Chmura. Remember what happened to him? You remember what happened to him?
Something bad.
The White House. Remember the whole thing? He thought he was up and he wasn't going to go to the White House because he took offense to Bill Clinton, and then he was found with his babysitter who was underage in his underwear in a hot tub.
Oh, my.
Yeah, great guy.
He's a regular Ken Starr.
Hypocrite like most of them. It was great. How did we go down this? What? You forgot about Omar.
Like names I'm thinking of are Dave Moore and Todd Yoder. Remember Todd Yoder?
Now there you may have gotten me. I don't really remember much.
He was a Buccaneer for a minute.
I don't remember Todd Yoder. Do we have any time for these probables?
There aren't any.
No games today?
No, they're all sweeps. The best of threes were all 2-game sweeps.
Well, that is tragic. We don't get a single game on the docket. We'll have to do it tomorrow on a Libations Friday.
We can say that the tight end position in the 80s
took up our
it was a house of power mills of men, you know? No?
I forgot
too much of a stretch.
Yeah. By the way, 137 Zaxby's to choose from.
Here we go.
Go get you some Zaxby's.
Just like there are 137 great tight ends between 1980 and 83 who would play right now.
And one of them was Troy Drayton. You remember Troy Drayton? You're thinking about
that's
it.
That's a great name.
Troy
that's
Drayton.
A quarterback's name. Troy Drayton.
What about Ricky Dudley? Remember Ricky Dudley?
Ricky Dudley was awesome.
Ricky Dudley, I got you.
John Gruden loved him some Ricky Dudley.
There you go. I loved Ricky Dudley. Frank Wycheck.
Well,
yeah. See, we forget about that. Good job, Power Mill. Sorry we didn't get probables today. We'll get you tomorrow.
That's baseball's fault, you know? How about somebody forces a game 3? Losers.
Yeah, that's a little annoying.
Ricky Dudley.
Ricky Dudley.
He was a badass. Was David Boston a receiver or a tight end?
He was a receiver, but he looked like a tight end.
Receiver.
Wesley Walls.
Oh.
Carolina Panthers. It's a stud. I hated that guy because I hate Carolina. Good work out of you. Good job, Director Matthew. Be well, everybody. Peace.